self-defense, y'all. I don't think he got a self-defense claim, y'all. Manny don't got no self-defense claim, y'all. At all. I mean, because video is surfing now, people putting videos up. Because it clearly shows Manny walk right past Finny. Clearly shows it. So like I said, somebody did a video like his accomplice. Who is his accomplice? Because if Manny walked right past Finny, and y'all gonna see it, I'm gonna drop the video behind this one. He walked right past him. Ain't even seen him, he was live. And somebody must have said, yo, you just passed it. He came back. That's when Finny looked over his right shoulder, and Finny girl said, get out of here with that foolishness. And he pulled the gun out and executed the man, and then executed his wife. He talking about self-defense. Ain't no self-defense claim there. Guilty than a motherfucker. You broadcast all your shit on social media. What a lot of people do. Y'all do the FBI and the police work for them. They don't have to work that hard no more. So I suggest any of you youngsters out there that want to get a, as they would say, a free check, become an officer. Because the social media gonna solve your case for you. You understand me? But like I said, Manny, there ain't no goddamn self-defense. You weren't looking for this dude. You weren't riding around. You on video. You know what I mean? You on video. Saying what you gonna do to this man when you run up on him, this, that, and the third. And not only that, you out looking for him. You looking for trouble at that point. You looking for clicks and views, right? You looking for clicks and views, and that's what you got, clicks and views. For your own demise. You got clicks and views for your own demise, Manny. And your accomplice, too, is going to be exposed. Which a lot of people saying it was your girlfriend that was telling you, you just walked right past him, right? It was your girlfriend that told you, you just walked right past him. And then you circled back. And Finny girlfriend spotted you and said, get with that foolishness. And you start blazing out of nowhere. If they traveled to Las Vegas, of course they ain't got no weapons. They can't take weapons on the plane, goddammit. You understand me? They can't take weapons on the plane. I'm trying to find a video. Hold on. Nah, we're gonna stay rolling, but let me see. I'll just go to my other account. Maybe it'll pick right up where I was at. But he claiming self-defense, y'all. That shit clearly show no self-defense. That shit clearly show that man was on a motherfucking warpath. He was most definitely on the warpath. Facts, not fiction. Here it go, right here. Yeah, y'all, that's crazy, man. He claiming self-defense. How the fuck is that self-defense? Let's go.
Faces for celebrity boxing.
Okay. And then after the weigh-in, of course, is Saturday.
Yep.
And that's the big fight. Where's that going down at?
Yeah, the fight's going to go down at Harris, Philadelphia, and Chester. Real excited about this. You know, it's our next step. Our next step after this, we're looking at the Wells Fargo Center. So
right.
We're excited.
And tickets are still available, correct?
Yes. Tickets.
Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. We got a bare knuckle fight coming up, y'all. Bare knuckle fight. Wells Fargo. There you go, right here though, y'all.
was helpful. There's cases where people abscond, whether it's for weeks or months, or I even have had cases for decades. Somebody's left and then eventually been picked up and found by law enforcement. So the turning himself in goes to his favor. What he did in the interim with the firearm, his clothes, etc., may be able to be explained by his defense attorney. There's certainly a reason.
Nah, because they said he gave his clothes to his girlfriend who was there with him. She went back to the scene with the clothes, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get to that. Hold on, y'all. We're going to get to that.
That's why somebody might not immediately go into a police station with a firearm in hand. But if he destroyed the weapon or it's non-recoverable and there's other factors that lead to them to believe that he was thinking about absconding and not returning, but ultimately did, that's going to be a back and forth as well. We call that consciousness of guilt in the law. If you flee and you don't report something to the police or don't reach out to defense counsel immediately so that they could assist you in that determination, that's something that prosecutors commonly argue, is that they were conscious of their guilt and that's why they fled. If they truly felt that they were acting in self-defense, they would have stayed at the scene or close enough to the scene in which they weren't in danger and immediately contacted law enforcement.
Right, and like we discussed,
you know how many other people's lives you put in danger by reckless shooting on a stroll like that? You could have not only that you unalived 2 civilians, you could have unalived more civilians, goddammit, with your reckless shooting. That's other charges that they gonna put on your ass that you have no clue of. Endangering the lives of others, goddammit. And that's just what it was. Anybody could have got shot on that stroll that night, besides the 2 victims.
He, according to police, did not stay on the scene. He ran away. Ruiz says, according to police, that he thought that the Finleys were going to shoot him, but no weapon was found.
How was the Finleys going to shoot him and he was riding around looking for the Finleys?
How do courts typically evaluate those split-second decisions?
So at the end of the day, the jury will likely decide not only if he's guilty or not guilty, but in murder cases, typically the jury is the one who decides the sentencing. In order to waive your right to have the jury sentence you, which is very unique in the state of Nevada, at least strictly for murder cases, both parties, meaning the prosecution and the defense, would have to waive that and say, we both agree we're going to allow the judge to specifically sentence him in this case. So it really determines. So under your hypothetical, if the judge, when you say the courts, was the one that hypothetically was to render this sentence, I mean, they're going to determine all of the factors. And I think really the most damning information is going to be, what was this beef really about? Is this about something as simple as a white collar copyright issue? How relevant is that even to the case? It doesn't seem like there was, at least at this point, I'm sure more videos will surface, but actual threats of violence, like, next time I see you, you're dead on sight. I've had those cases where there's long, drawn out beefs, and the argument typically is, and you need to just demonstrate that as defense counsel, is that my client was under a firm and realistic belief that the next time he ran into that individual, he was dead on sight and had no option to wait for the other person to shoot him first. You know, what's the old saying, that I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6? That's how you need to frame the story in context of a criminal trial.
Right. Well, it seems like this, and I guess, you know, we will hear and find out more information as, you know, the days go on, but it just seems like this was very petty. You know, things that they were arguing over. It didn't seem like it was something big enough for someone to lose their life. He reportedly told police, according to documents, that Tanisha, which was Mr. Finley's wife, was dancing in his face. Even the fact that he said that to police, you know, could that argument that he felt provoked hold any legal weight, both for his defense and, you know, for the prosecution as well?
I like how you frame that question, because yes, it's always a two-way street, so the prosecution can show how unhinged.
Searching for my turtle's head is one of the scariest things.
Nah, this shit is an open shut case, man. Dude was riding around looking for trouble, man. And he already said what he was gonna do to him when he seen. Finny and his wife was vacationing in Las Vegas. Y'all know they couldn't come on the plane or take those trips with guns on them, y'all. You know they ain't had no weapon, and they wasn't looking for Manny. Manny was looking for them, though. And he had an agenda to execute him, ladies and gentlemen. The evidence shows it. And it shows him say, agitators can get it too. Talking about his girlfriend. You understand me?
Prosecution can show how unhinged this individual was, that this was over petty, online, childish beef interaction that led to literally 2 people being executed in one of the most iconic landmarks in the city of Las Vegas, and if not the world. And then from the defense side, you know, not every case is great, right? We sometimes refer to that as, you know, that's not a good fact. It's not a good fact. It's not great evidence as to what specifically he did on that video. But if there's not going to be a negotiation, if that your client is not inclined to try to resolve the case and they're set on going to trial, then you have to do what you have to do and deal with the facts that you have on that particular case. And you really got to try to paint these alleged victims as the instigators, and that they were violent, and that he had a reasonable belief that there was imminent death or substantial bodily harm, and he had no choice but to pull the firearm. The video doesn't show that, to be clear, but that's the argument his defense team is going to have to make.
Video don't show that at all.
Right, and we're just speaking of, you know, just reasonably fearing for your life, because in cases that is true, there are people that are fearful and feel like they really do need to protect themselves. But what is the threshold for proving that you reasonably?
But not when you go looking for people.
Especially
God damn it!
in a public place like the Strip,
When you go
right?
looking for somebody, God damn it, that's all out the door at that point.
Anything like that.
All out the window.
A strip filled with hundreds, if not thousands.
Hold on, y'all. Every time I come in here, I meet this beautiful lady, man. So I see her again today. I'm like, dang, what's this? Every Saturday we meet. This our meetup? She like, wow, how about that? She introduced me, gave me her name. Told her my name. She said, wow, I was just thinking about my relative. He got the same name. And I was just thinking about him this morning. And I said, ain't that something? And then here I come walking through the door, right? And she said, wow. And then she started telling me about how she had heart surgery in 2021, man. I'm like, wow, you can't even tell you had heart surgery. Real, she looks marvelous, ladies and gentlemen. Just marvelous. And I said, I had to give her a hug, y'all. You know what I mean? That's how we uplift each other, y'all. It's not about smashing and wanting numbers and this and that. It's about having decent conversations with our peoples, y'all. Because you never know what people are going through, y'all. Here it is, this lady had heart surgery. I never knew, but you couldn't even tell. But how the Most High work. Put peoples in positions for reasons, y'all. I might have even uplifted her even more. Understand me? And I always see her too. I always see her. And I'm not stalking her, y'all, but it's like I always see this lady, y'all. And I just happened to say something to her today. I said something to her last week. How marvelous she looked. And then runs into her again this morning. That's same time, same back channel. That's crazy, y'all. But anyway, let's get back to Manny, man. Manny was beaming, y'all. Manny was on one, y'all. He was most definitely on one, talking about a teardrop. He about to get his teardrop. It's all in the video. When you get a teardrop, ladies and gentlemen, that means you killed that, you unalive someone. You understand me? When you see people with teardrops, 9 times out of 10 they unalive somebody to join a gang. And Manny even said it. Manny said, I'm about to get my teardrop. It's in the video I got on the channel, y'all. Just check it out, y'all. Listen to the whole video. Let's continue, y'all. Damn, that beautiful woman got me in a spell right now. The downfall of a man, a beautiful woman.
Absolutely. Nevada protects people regardless, home, outside, but you have much more protections inside your vehicle or inside your home or inside an office or some sort of structure. So if this immature YouTube beef turned into him, the suspect in this case finding the victim's address and like breaking through his front door, or vice versa. Let me flip that. That would be a completely different situation. Very likely going to be justified to shoot and kill somebody on site if they break in and enter your home without an invitation. But in a situation like this, a public standard, really what the standard is going to be for the jury and that the prosecution is going to harp on is not what the suspect felt at that time. He can argue all day that he was emotionally distressed and this copyright issue was ruining his life and she was dancing in his face, mocking him. Sure, he can jump up and down and say that, but the prosecution will look the jury in the eyes and say, what would a reasonable person do in this situation? Not him. It is a reasonable person standard. So the jury is going to internalize it and say, well, what would I do? Now that's strictly prohibited. You can't tell the jury, what would you do? But we're all adults.
Man, that shit up.
What the jury's going to think when you say reasonable person, because although we all have our good and bad days, we all love to believe we are the reasonable person, right? So what a reasonable person would do under that situation is the standard, which really translates to the juror sitting there. Would I have gunned down 2 people in front of the Bellagio because some guy that was talking mess about me online happened to walk by me?
Right. And in a case like this, with a lot of evidence, at least it appears to be, with all just the videos that both the prosecution and defense will have to go through, if there are hours of live streams, comments, and past videos, who decides what's admissible and what's just internet noise?
Great question. Yeah, so I'm sure there's going to be hundreds of hours, if not more, on both sides of this. And that's going to be a real long battle in regards to the discovery. Yet another reason why, many reasons why, but yet another reason why I wouldn't imagine this trial goes anytime soon, because they're going to need to archive that, subpoena YouTube. Both the defense attorney and the prosecution are going to pile through that. And absolutely, there's going to be arguments and motion and limines probably on both sides of saying, no, this is relevant, the jury needs to see that, and no, it's not relevant, it's just meant to inflame the jury or prejudice them. That definitely is going to be a point of contention in this trial, absolutely.
Would you expect the defense to lean heavily into Ruiz's mental state, or are they more likely to argue fear and panic?
I mean, those kind of go one and the same in my experience. Well, what is your current mental state? Did that lead to fear, panic, etc.? But again, you're walking that tightrope as a defense attorney and the defendant in this particular charge, because you don't want your client to seem unhinged and unreasonable, which is hard to do when you have a point-blank shooting on video and the victims ended up not having any weapon on them. So you've got to demonstrate the actual fear that your client says they had for great substantial bodily harm and or their life.
How, when you was out looking for them? Video shows you riding around looking for them. Your intentions was to unalive both of them. That was your intentions. It's all on video. It's all on video.
And the imminent fear that he felt that he was going to take away his life and hurt him at that exact moment. But you also don't want to go all the way over the edge and then have the jury think, okay, he's just completely unhinged and a lunatic. This is not a reasonable person. It's a very, very tight rope to walk.
With this going viral, can either side get a fair trial in Las Vegas? I know we were just talking about the jury.
Yeah, I mean, the defense could potentially move for a change of venue. They could go up north to some of the other jurisdictions up there. I don't necessarily know if this is the type of case. I mean, first of all, judges are reluctant to do that. And even though it's viral and it's in the media, there's plenty of cases that are in the media. We had an O.J. Simpson trial out here, and who's more famous than O.J. at the time of that occurred. There's numerous other trials and cases here in Las Vegas, and celebrities that I could name that were cases stayed here in Clark County. So as far as it getting moved, very doubtful. A fair trial, I don't know why not. Again, there's not any information out that really elicits those type of things where you may think you're not going to get a fair trial, like if it's a politically motivated crime, right?
What about his girlfriend, the accomplice? Hold on, y'all. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to the accomplice. Let me find it. Hold on, y'all.
Manny and Julie, the Las Vegas YouTubers, got away from the scene of the crime. Now, we all know that Manny is now in custody, no bail, potentially getting life in prison for double homicide and potentially the death penalty. Now, a lot of people are trying to say his claim of self-defense is valid. Of course, these people support Manny. I mean, I don't see how you can claim self-defense saying, well, for the past 2 years, they were harassing him, so he had a right to defend himself by killing these people in front of the Bellagio. There was no imminent danger on Manny in front of Bellagio. Nobody was around. It was these two, Finny and Bubbly, recording. There was no altercation, no fight. Everybody saw in the video. Manny attempted to walk by, decided to double back.
Right.
Because his wife Julie pointed out Finny and Bubbly.
Right.
And he decided to just take out a gun, shoot him. Cold blood right there in front of Bellagio.
Yeah.
That happened on June the 8th. Now, Manny decided to turn himself in a day later. That's not the whole story though. See, Julie, she was an accomplice.
Keyword, Julie.
If you don't know what an accomplice is, let me read a definition to you about accomplice. Accomplice, a person who helps someone else to commit a crime or do something morally wrong. Example, the thieves and two accomplices made away with over $25,000 in cash. So now that you know what an accomplice is, let's put this all into perspective. Let's say somebody committed a crime. Let's say I decided to rob a bank. Let's just say that. And I've been looking for a bank all day. I've been driving around looking for a bank to rob. Finally decide, hey, I know where there is one. And people are telling me, hey, Jeff, there's a bank on the other side of town. Not a lot of security there. Okay. Cool. So I get my wife. Cool. And she rides with me to go rob this bank because people told us where this bank was. Not a lot of security. We get to the bank. We start walking. My wife points out, hey, there's a security guard. There's a camera. There's a security guard. I go, okay, thanks for pointing that out. My wife pointed it out. I decided to go in, rob the bank. So I robbed it. I leave the bank and I hurry up and I give my wife the clothes that I robbed the bank in. She takes those clothes. I go left, she goes right. Now, as she's walking, she gets on her phone and she calls an Uber for me, knowing exactly where I am. I text her, hey, I'm at New York Casino. Send me an Uber. So therefore, she sends an Uber for me in New York Casino. I get in the Uber, I leave. My wife walked right back past the bank, police and everybody out there. She walks right past the bank, holding the clothes that I wore when I robbed the bank, and gets in her car and drives off. That's hypothetical. Now let me tell you what actually happened on June the 8th. On June the 8th, this is how I believe the DA will look at how Julie was an accomplice to this crime. Julie and Manny knew exactly what he was looking for. People on live streams were telling them, hey, this is where Finny is. Finny's in front of Bellagio. He's doing a live stream in front of Bellagio. That's where they are right now. Julie and Manny decided to go to Bellagio because they were told that's where Finny and Bubbly were.
Yes, man.
You have any great coupon?
Yes, man. How y'all doing this morning? Happy Father's Day to the fathers, man.
Yeah, man. How you gonna do this, man?
My man.
How you gonna act?
Chill. Hi.
I'm trying to figure out what the fuck I ain't figured it out yet, man.
Hey, whatever you want to do.
Listen, you know what? It's crazy how Father's Day we don't get no love, but on Mother's Day they got flowers on every motherfucking corner.
No
they get a
bullshit.
motherfucking parade.
No
and all
bullshit.
that shit. Yeah, give me a beer and
no
a hug.
bullshit. That's it. I know. I'm taking hugs. I'm taking hugs.
I take that.
Straight up.
Crazy. I don't know.
Hey.
I don't know, man. They don't love us like they used to.
Nah, not like they used to. They used to have a parade going up the fairground for us, right? The parade going up the fairground.
Oh yeah, it's going.
I ain't said last year they ain't have it.
Yeah. Oh, because what's his name died. He was the one that was actually putting that together. Now, what's his name? Nobody. No. What's his name on it? He might do it. I doubt it, brother. Tomorrow.
I'm gonna ride up once I leave. I'm gonna ride up there, see what's going on, see if I can run into somebody up there.
You might see me up there too.
Yeah.
It's gonna rain tomorrow though.
And they said supposed to do something off and on today too. Like,
listen, it's off and on. See, and then look, it's hot as shit on Mother's Day. Look, Father's Day is raining. Yo, what kind of shit is that?
we'll get no love from the look from the weather or the people.
Weather or the people. Like, fuck the dads. That motherfuckers ain't shit.
Right.
When we put this shit together.
That's right. That's right. I appreciate y'all, man.
Appreciate it by anybody else. We appreciate it.
My man.
As a father, a son, and a friend.
That's right. That's right.
Because listen, they don't give a fuck.
Likewise. Y'all stay blessed, all right, brother?
All the time. You know where the foundation.
That's right. That's right. Man's enough now. Man, on this good Father's Day. Which Father's Day is every day. You understand me? Father's Day is every day, y'all. Like Mother's Day is every day. Got Uber. Got Uber going once, going twice. Uber gone. Let's get back to this program.
They decided to go to Bellagio because they were told that's where Finny and Bubbly were. So they get to the casino.
Living with opioid addiction can be a struggle. Supplicate with counseling is for adults with moderate to severe.
So they get to the casino. Julie points them out. There they are right there. She's on video pointing them out. There's Finny and Bubbly right there.
See? Yeah, then that's means she's the accomplice, right? If she pointed them out, because he walked right past him. He walked right past him. It's on video. It's gonna drop after this video.
Manny decides to walk past. He walks, doubles back. What's up, dog? Pow, 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 pow.
No.
Then does the wife too. He leaves. Nobody sees him anymore. We see a video later of Julie walking with the clothes that Manny wore during the shooting. She has the gear, walking. She's on another person's video, walking with this gear, looking at her phone. Now we know that he took a Lyft or an Uber from New York, New York. Nobody knows how he got the Lyft.
Right.
People are saying he didn't have his phone because he didn't want to be tracked. He didn't have an account. He discarded the weapon, and yet she's on her phone walking through the murder scene, looking at the phone. We don't know if she's texting him or if she's getting him an Uber. Nobody knows yet, but that will be discovered through the timestamps once the DA and the prosecutor start looking at those timestamps. Now, what I will say, if she was not an accomplice, she could have got out of it this way. Now, this is just content. If you didn't like it, that's cool. Put thumbs down. If you did like it, that's cool. Put thumbs up. No matter what, it don't affect me. We're real content creators. We can take criticism. We can take whatever. Thumbs down me, don't bother me. I got videos with over 1,000 thumbs downs on it. It don't bother me. I'm still making content. I got trolls all the time, haters. It don't bother me. What bothers me when people do not understand the ramifications of what just happened. They think, oh, well, if somebody talks smack about you on the internet, you can go kill them. You have to be a real one. Maybe you shouldn't have an internet account if that's really how you feel. You can't handle this. First, if you're not an accomplice, she should have first ran to the police who were there already. There are police on the scene running towards the shooting.
Right.
She should have ran towards them. Hey, My husband just did something horrible. My husband just shot these people. They were about to attack us and he shot them and he ran. That's how she could have said, at least I'm innocent. At least I'm innocent because I went straight to the police. Hey, my husband shot him. She could have used her phone to call 911. 911. Hey, this is Julie and my husband just shot two people on the strip that were trying to attack us. Oh, really? We're in front of Bellagio? She could have did that. 3.
Right.
She could have went back to the scene and told the police, my husband shot these people. I'm his wife. He's gone. I don't know where he is, but I know these people. I know who they are. And this is the situation. 3 ways she could have proved that she was innocent and had nothing to do with it and didn't want anything to do with it. That would have probably got her some time off, maybe got her out of the case, completely out of the case, and completely implicated Manny as being a sole person who did this on his own. That's all she had to do, either 1, 2, or 3. As an accomplice, we now know she did this. She tampered with the evidence.
Right.
She took the clothes away from the murder scene.
Right.
She left the murder scene. She didn't alert any of the law enforcement at the murder scene. She never contacted 911 about the situation going down.
Right.
She also ordered a fugitive who left the scene of a crime a getaway vehicle. These are all things that the district attorney will look at. The prosecutors will look at all of those things. She has to answer to that. There's a lot of people in the comments, oh no, she didn't have nothing to do with it. She didn't have nothing to do with it. You're on YouTube. You're not a prosecutor. You're not a DA. You're not a defending attorney. You have no idea what you're talking about. She ain't had nothing to do with it. That's what evidence is for. Circumstantial, actual evidence. They're going to go through everything, timestamps, logic, psychology of why things went the way it went. So you can sit on YouTube all you want saying she's innocent. She's my friend. She had nothing to do with it. It was all Manny. And even Manny's innocent. Manny don't even have bail right now. This double murder, you don't get bail for that. I'm sorry. A lot of you guys were wrong when I was right. I was telling y'all in comments, he ain't getting out. Oh, no, they're going to give him bail. They're going to give him bail because Finny was torturing him. Finny was bullying him. They're going to give him bail. You were wrong about that. I was right about that. He didn't get bail. Guess what? No bail.
Right.
Told you. There's a reason why people like me get involved in law and why people like you have no idea what the law is. You probably break the law. You probably help entice this man to break the law. You probably solicited all the information to him so he can go and violate the law, thinking we're within the realms of the law because Finny bullied him. Yeah, since Finny was making content about him, he had a right to kill him. That's called defending yourself. He didn't defend his channel because the channel's gone. He didn't defend his image. His image is shot.
Quick video. He claiming self-defense, ladies and gentlemen. But his self-defense claim is out the door. Is out the window. And I'm going to show y'all in this video how his self-defense claim is out the window. All right, let's go. So when I tell y'all his claim of self-defense is out the window.
21.
Now, here's Finny right here.
2-1. Fire department's being dispatched in the area, 516 East 23rd, 516 East 23rd for the wires call. Sparking wire in the tree.
Here's Finny live screaming, right? And here's Manny right here. So if he claiming self-defense, that Finny and his wife was supposed to have been dancing in his face, right? And Finny is here live screaming. Manny right here, walk right past him. Watch this, y'all.
Circulating online appears to show YouTuber Rodney Finley, known to followers as Finny the Legend, spending his final moments with his wife before both were gunned down in Las Vegas Sunday night.
The officers immediately ran towards that gunfire, and they found 2 victims who were laying on the sidewalk, suffering from apparent gunshot wounds.
The shooting, happening live on a stream, unfolded on the Las Vegas Strip near the Bellagio Hotel. Police identifying the victims as Rodney Finley and his wife, Tanisha Finley. Circulating online appears to show YouTuber Rodney Finley, known to followers as Finny the Legend, spending...
It shows Finny, Manny, don't even know who he is because he walked right past him. So somebody had to be watching the live screen to tell Manny that he just walked past Finny. Because watch how when he walked past him and then Finny turns around, looks over his right shoulder, which is Manny, and his girlfriend jumped in front of him and tell him to get ahead with the nonsense, and he pulled the gun out and executed both of them. Let's watch.
YouTuber Rodney Finley, known to followers as Finny the Legend, spending his final moments with his wife before both were gunned down in Las Vegas Sunday night.
The officers immediately ran towards that gunfire, and they found two victims who were laying on the sidewalk, suffering from apparent gunshot wounds.
The shooting, happening live on a stream, unfolded on the Las Vegas Strip near the Bellagio Hotel. Police.
Now he claiming self-defense, right? That his wife, like she was reaching or something like that. Bullshit. But in this clip here, ladies and gentlemen, I want y'all to listen real closely to what he say. He say instigators can get it too, right? So the instigator must have been his wife, right? Because if Manny live scream, if Finny be live screaming, his girl be in there saying things, you know how females are, right? They might say a little instigating words. So let's listen to what he say about instigators.
Just know instigators get this shit too.
And bring your ass over here. And bring your ass over here. Are you kidding me? And bring your ass over here. Are you kidding me? Don't bring your ass over here. Executed the wife. Now listen to him. Let's listen to what he have to say.
Just know instigators get this shit too.
And we've seen online beefs escalate before, but not always to this level. I mean, we're talking about 2 deaths here, caught on camera. Could the digital footprint actually end up being the most powerful evidence in court?
There's a ton of evidence in this case, and again, we're not privy to all the information quite yet, but it looks like there's documentation on both the suspect and the deceased YouTube channels documenting the beef, documenting the dislike for each other, as well as the actual shooting itself. I'm sure your viewers have already seen it or will probably be seeing it as part of this clip, but you see them walking by each other in front of the iconic Bellagio fountains right there on the beautiful Las Vegas Strip, and the accused clearly pulls out a firearm, shoots him. You could see the gun, you could see the muzzle go off, and we have 2 deceased individuals.
And he claimed self-defense, the accused, but as we just stated, the live stream seems to show, things play out a different way. And it also shows just prior video of his that he may have actually been searching for Mr. Finley prior to this. How might prosecutors use that to challenge his version of events?
He walked right past
so
him.
the online documented beef, but again, a defense attorney can say those are words going back and forth on each side. There was video, you're correct, that I watched that was about 24 hours, if that, prior to, where he states his intent that he's actively searching him out to see him in person for some sort of confrontation. In regards to him claiming self-defense, I'm not aware. I haven't been able to see any police reports just yet if he actually spoke to police or gave a statement. From a criminal defense standpoint, that would be a pretty foolish thing to do. You want to invoke your right to remain silent, speak to your attorney so you can keep all options open. But at the end of the day, based on what we've seen so far, it seems very likely that's going to be his only avenue of defense, is to say that, hey, this was an ongoing beef. He was throwing words and threats my way, and when I saw him on the strip, it was commotion. Maybe argue that he threatened him or tried to pull out some sort of weapon on his own, although there is no evidence at this point that weapons were found on him or this other deceased, the female who happened to be in a relationship with that gentleman.
Yes, and we know that according to reports, their beef seems to stem back to some type of copyright issue and just other issues that they had because they were going back and forth on social media reportedly. Could the alleged copyright issue that they were fighting over play a role in motive, or does that just become background noise legally?
It really depends on the defense and or the prosecution strategy. I mean, depending on how serious or petty it is, on which side of the fence you're on, prosecutor or defense, that may be brought in as a highlight and a point of contention, or it might just be white noise and these two engaged in a silly, immature back and forth that led to the death of two individuals.
Right, and it's funny that you use those words, silly and immature, because another YouTuber and streamer spoke to a local station and said that he just found this whole thing to be extremely childish, and now we're dealing with 3 lives essentially gone, 2 that are taken because 2 people are dead, and 1 that there's a possibility he could spend the rest of his life in jail if he's convicted. If you could just talk about that and just the consequences of this man's actions.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Nevada, we still have the death penalty, so there's an option for the Clark County District Attorney's Office to take this to the death penalty review panel and make that decision. And they make that based on several factors of mitigating and aggravating circumstances. Even if they decline to seek the death penalty, you're looking at murder with a deadly weapon. So you've got 20 years at the bottom of the sentence, which you do each and every single day of that 20 years on the bottom of a violent offense, such as a murder in Nevada, per defendant. So there's 40 years on the bottom right then and there if they run them consecutively. And that's not counting the deadly weapon enhancement as well, that they can tack on numerous years to that. So that's an additional range of 1 to 20 years. So 28 years to life with parole, life without parole, or the death penalty per defendant. And he's about 41 years old is my understanding. And, I'm turning 42 here in a few weeks. And though I hope I have a lot of life to live, I certainly want to be facing the next 20, 30 years, possibly the rest of my life in prison. And it seems like a real possibility based upon that video.
What exactly would prosecutors have to prove in order to make this a death penalty case?
It's not necessarily proof. They make the determination on their own. So they basically look at, let's talk about
Finny
mitigating
right there,
factors.
Manny
Well,
right
what's
there,
his
walk
lifestyle?
right
What's his
past him.
criminal history? Through my research,
So
it looks like
somebody
his
had to
criminal
tell
history
him,
was
yo,
fairly
you just
minimal.
walk
Looks like
past
there was a
him, dude.
DUI or 2 back in California
Then he comes
several
back.
years ago. So nonviolent criminal history, to the best of my knowledge. Standing in the community. He's gainfully employed, assuming he was making money from his YouTube channel. This wasn't a racial or hate crime as far as we could tell at this point. That would be, an aggravating factor if they were targeting them based upon their sexual orientation, race, other factors of that nature. So if I had to bet on it, I would say that they're probably not going to take this to the death penalty, or they're going to take it to the death penalty panel, They will review it, but I believe the ultimate determination will be not to seek the death penalty, but he will still be facing the rest of his life in prison without a doubt.
Well, according to police, the suspect ditches his clothes and the weapon, takes a ride share, and then turns himself in. Does that sequence help or hurt a self-defense claim?